Fallout is growing this morning over NBC News' decision to fire former Republican National Committee Chairwoman Ronna McDaniel after several on-air hosts bashed her hiring as a contributor. Media critic Steve Krakauer laying out 3 ways he believes NBC flunked the Ronna McDaniel test. He writes this: NBC's journalists and hosts couldn't process sharing a break room with a prominent and actual Republican. Fail 1. The bosses gave in to their childish employees who clearly don't understand the role of a journalist. Fail 2. And the entire news outlet apparently thought McDaniel was a GOP voice that would resonate with conservatives in America to begin with. Fail 3. And the author, Steve Krakauer, NewsNation media contributor, joins me live now. Steve, a really thought-provoking piece. I enjoyed reading it. Let's just start with NBC's decision to hire her in the first place. They acknowledge they brought her on to offer viewers a diverse set of voices. I mean, hello, a bedrock of journalism, responsible journalism.
Yeah, I think in that sense, their heart was in the right place, right? You want to get ideological diversity on your air. You want prominent conservatives, in the case of NBC, who they would, I think, they would admit themselves, have voices that will lean left rather than right. And so yes, I think that's the right move. But we have to step back and say, why was Ronna McDaniel looking to become a contributor of a news network to begin with? And that was because she was pushed out of the RNC, deemed not sort of properly MAGA enough, but also because of her losses that the Republicans saw in 2018, 2020, 2022, fundraising issues. I don't think anyone on the right would claim that Ronna McDaniel is this great voice of conservatives in America in 2024. So I think it even started in the wrong place in that sense, where yes, you want ideological diversity, but is this really the right path to get there? This is someone who comes with a lot of baggage, which I know we'll get to, and they don't necessarily speak to the average conservative in America either.
What do you think NBC viewers should take away from that really quick hiring and firing? I mean, just a very public acknowledgement that they're being kept in an echo chamber now, or how should they read this?
Well, that's the problem. I think it looks bad all around because, yes, we saw an unprecedented wave of on-air kind of temper tantrums, I would call it, from MSNBC and even from NBC, from hosts like Chuck Todd. That really looks bad. It looks like, first of all, attacking the bosses. There's something going on behind the scenes, and now it's spilling out on air. But also, yes, with the absence of another right-leaning contributor in the wings, it just looks like an ideological push-out as well. And then the bosses just give in days later and fire her. I mean, that is something that we do not see very often, and it also just opens the floodgates. I think this is just a sign not just to viewers, but also to people internally that says this tactic worked. If you want to go against your bosses on a decision that they make, in this case to bring on some ideological diversity, just go on the air, start a campaign against them. And
yeah, that was shocking.
I mean,
yes. That was shocking, I think, for all of us to hear them, ask for a public apology from bosses. Riddle me this, Steve, because I can't wrap my head around it. President Biden's former White House press secretary, Jen Psaki, now has her own show on MSNBC. I will acknowledge there were some not happy about that either. I know there were behind-the-scenes meetings on that hiring as well. But how is that different? Why did that play out so differently than this?
Yeah, and Jen Psaki was one of those people on air on MSNBC on Monday saying, well, it's different because I bring honesty and good faith to what I did on the political side. I mean, come on, that's absolutely ridiculous. And yes, I think it just shows a clear hypocrisy and double standard here. And people will quibble, well, is Ronna McDaniel, is she not exactly a press secretary? Was she involved in the 2020 election lies scheme? So yeah, okay, we can quibble with the nuances of this, but absolutely, I think that there's a very clear case here, an apples to apples case of a person who literally came from the current administration and went behind the podium, and now she's just on the air as a host, just moving to journalism. I think that is a very bad precedent that's being set at NBC, and it's not just NBC. We should say this story is about NBC, but this is a wider problem within the corporate media that I think it just continues to erode trust in the average American, the independent, the a political
Sad.
person has in our media.
Yeah, it's hard to wrap your head around. I know now NBC News staffers are reportedly bracing for backlash from Republican sources. We'll see what that looks like, especially as we inch closer and closer to November as well. And some Americans want to hear from diverse voices. Steve Krakauer, thank you so much, sir. Appreciate your time. Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. Also, don't forget to click that red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.